Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Music News at Noon on Music Industry City Broadcast Network, where we look at breaking industry news, today's headlines, and what's going on for all of us in music technology right now. We're going to be starting our program and broadcast in just a few moments here. Don't forget that you can ask your friends to join the conversation. And if you'd like to share your thoughts on any of today's topics, please request to join the stage yourself. We are also live on the video stream, so you can not just listen, but also view us in real time if you want to. You can also follow along with all of today's headlines on our website, and that's musicindustrycity.com. Thanks for joining us here today. We're going to be starting here in just a few moments with our countdown and our headlines of the day. Make sure that you do follow your hosts and moderators by tapping on their images. These are the speakers on stage with the green moderator icon. Or if you're in the live stream, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You can also register for free at musicindustrycity.com to gain access to a multitude of other incredible content for musicians and for music industry professionals. So make sure that you do visit our website, musicindustrycity.com. And now we begin our countdown. Let's look at today's headlines.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is the Music News at Noon on the Music Industry City Broadcast Network, where we look at breaking news, today's headlines, and what's going on in the music industry. I'm Peter Schwing, and please join me in welcoming my co-host Eli Window and UK correspondent Angela Randall.
Hello, Peter. Hello, Angela. And hi, everyone. It's good to see you today.
Hello, everyone. Coming from the vocal booth at the recording studio today. Good to see everyone.
Right on. All right, in today's news, TikTok rivals Lomotif signs with Universal. MTV brings back Behind the Music. UK post-Brexit EU touring campaign. Dutch summer festivals off while Northern Ireland opens up. YouTube Music announce a lineup. And as always, our daily Spotify update. These stories coming up. But first, let's take a look at this day in music history with Eli Window. Eli.
All right, let's look at this day in music history. On this date, July 27th in 2001, we lost Leon Wilkeson, bass player with Lynyrd Skynyrd. He was found dead in a hotel room in Florida, aged 49. And we here at Music News at Noon have just learned that Mike Howe, lead singer of the veteran band Metal Church, has passed away just recently. We learned this news yesterday. He was 55 in memory. Moving on, birthdays today in music history. Born this date, 1960, Australian rock musician Conway Savage, from Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. And born this date, 1962, Carl Mueller, bassist with Soul Asylum. Born July 27th, 1964, Rex Brown, bassist with Pantera. And born on this date, in 1967, American musician and singer-songwriter Juliana Hatfield. Happy birthday all around. Moving on to this day in music history. On this date, 1958, fans of rock and roll music were warned that tuning into music on their car radio could cost you more money. Yes, researchers from the Esso Gas Company said the rhythm of rock and roll could cause the driver to be foot heavy on the pedal, making them waste fuel. Indeed. On this date, 1976, Bruce Springsteen sued his manager, Mike Apple, for fraud and breach of trust. The case dragged on for over a year, halting Springsteen's career. An out-of-court settlement was reached the following year. And on this date, 2019, Amy Winehouse's ex-boyfriend, Blake Fielder Civil, made a legal claim for £1 million cut of the singer's fortune. Fielder Civil said his lawyer said he had a valid claim because he was with Amy for her 6 years during which she released some of her best-selling material. Amy's family replied by saying, "He spent a lot of their marriage in prison, bringing nothing but pain to everyone. And to give him another penny would simply be too much." Crazy day in music history for Amy Winehouse's family. And that's it for this day in music history. Back over to you, Peter.
Well, and I also want to give a special shout out to Juliana Hatfield, my music crush. since the mid 90s and still to this day. She's the one that's like, if I ever meet her, I'd just be like, hi. Like, it's one of those, I just have no idea what to say. But, the other thing about the radio research in the car, that goes back to, what year was that was saying? I mean, we just talked about it last week about there was a more recent research, and they were saying that, don't listen to Prodigy because you'll drive more aggressive. And then there's also listen to Hey Ya, Hey Ma. And it's like, whatever that song was, it's like, back then, it's like, all these studies are like music listening in cars. I mean, Matt, what were the songs that they were probably saying not to listen to back then?
Jokingly, I'm going to say that maybe pretty soon listening to music is going to be like smoking cigarettes has become. You just won't be able to do it anywhere without catching some criticism. It looks like that headline came out in 1958, and we've been hearing some criticism of listening to music in the car and having lead foot ever since.
Right on. All right, so let's move on to set the stage for the roundtable conversation. We bring you summaries and commentary on the latest headlines. If you'd like to offer your thoughts on one of today's topics, request to join the stage during the roundtable segment. I'd also like to thank everyone who's viewing the show on our video live stream and joining in our members-only newsroom live discussion thread on musicindustrycity.com. To stay up to date with this and other programming, make sure to sign up for free at musicindustrycity.com to obtain access to exclusive content. Now let's get to it. All right, and this first piece is from Complete Music Update. To access all the articles mentioned in today's show and throughout the week, visit musicindustrycity.com and click on the article with today's date that says Music News at Noon. All right, this from Complete Music Update. Songwriter groups formally call on U.S. Copyright Royalty Board to reject NMPA's mechanical royalty rate proposals. Organizations representing songwriters in the United States and around the world, led by the Songwriters Guild of America, the Society of Composers and Lyricists and Music Creators, has urged the U.S. Copyright Royalty Board to reject a proposal supported by major music publishers to maintain the current mechanical royalty rates and discs for downloads in the United States. The so-called mechanical copying of songs is covered by a compulsory license under American copyright law, which means that while music publishers and composers are entitled to payment anytime their songs are duplicated, the rates they are due are decided by a team of judges called the Copyright Royalty Board, the CRB. The last time the CRB evaluated streaming rates, it approved an increase, increasing the rate from 10.5 to 15.1% of the money allocated to a song by a service based on consumption share over a period of years. When it comes to CDs and downloads, record companies are the primary purchasers of mechanical rights. Earlier this year, the CRB was informed by the National Music Publishers Association and Nashville Songwriters Association International that they had reached a new agreement with the major labels to maintain the current mechanical rate for CDs and downloads. The rate, which hasn't changed since 2006 and is now 9.1 cents per copy. They go on to say, quote, "We urge that the CRB recommend the undertaking of a study by the U.S. Copyright Office to improve the ability of independent music creators and music publishers to more fully participate in CRB proceedings at a reasonable cost. The current inability of all but the music major publishers and their affiliated music publisher and music creator groups to effectively participate in CRB proceedings due to the cost of such participation must be effectively addressed." Yes, these are the copyright laws. I mean, this is something that by the time copyright laws are these go into effect, they're already 20 years too late. So you need to make a more efficient process, but you're dealing with some bureaucracy there. All right, let's go over. This one is also from Complete Music Update, and this is TikTok. TikTok rival Lomotif signs licensing deal with Universal. The TikTok competitor has inked a licensing deal with Universal Music, granting the video sharing app and its users access to the major label's vast library of music. Paul Yang, CEO of Lomotif, stated, quote, "Our deal with Universal Music Group will continue to grow users and increase engagement within our platform, a destination for emerging artists, and will significantly expand the types of music our community can utilize, collaborate with, and share. With nearly 800 million videos created to date, we are headed in a great direction as a platform, and making high-value content, functionality, and features available to our community will only help us grow exponentially." Lomotif bills itself as the fastest growing video sharing social network with over 225 million app installations in 200 countries in the previous 3 years. And it does remain to see if they're going to, how this will shake out with, competition to TikTok. Has anybody used this? Angela, you are our resident app explorer. Have you tested this one out?
I haven't, but my knowledge so far about it, and I've heard it pronounced the way you are, and Lomotif. So who knows what's right?
Yeah.
But is that it's U.S. based, at least as far as I can tell. So I don't even know if it's hit our app store yet. I can certainly check this week and get back to you by Friday and give it a go if I can. But I haven't seen it come up in my app list, so it may just be U.S. based for the moment.
Right on. Yeah. So well, no, it says it's in 200 countries. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so maybe it's just not hit me. Maybe it's just not hit me yet. I don't know. I've got to do a little hunting. I'll get back to you this week.
All right. Watch this space. All right. This one is from Variety. MTV brings back Behind the Music in weekly podcast series. MTV is introducing a podcast version of Behind the Music, the 90s era music documentary series that originally aired on VH1, with a selection of the top episodes remastered for audio and updated. The first two artists to be featured will be Dr. Dre and Ice Cube, which will both premiere episodes dropping on Thursday, July 29th. Others that will be on the show: 50 Cent, AC/DC, Adam Lambert, Bret Michaels, Courtney Love, Duran Duran. I mean, this list goes on. You can check the article for more details. And the Behind the Music podcast is positioned as an audio companion to the Paramount Plus Behind the Music series, which premieres on July 29th with all new and classic episodes. So for the full listing, check out the article, and you can find that article link in at musicindustrycity.com. And click on the graphic and the article post for with today's date. All right. With that, let's check in with Eli.
All right. Thanks for checking in with me. And we want to remind you to check in with your friends and invite them to join our show too. Your friends can participate in the conversation just like you can by requesting to come to the stage or by chiming in the chat if you're watching us on our video live stream. And hello to our viewers. If you're listening and you want to watch us on the live stream, you can go to our website to tune in and also access all of our other content and articles, including our weekday daily brief podcast. Now, this is where we keep you up to date on items that might not be covered or covered in depth here in the Music News at Noon, such as new releases, tours, musical chairs, tech news, and check it out. This is all in less than 3 minutes, so you want to make sure you catch up and plug in daily. And while you're there, make sure that you do register for free and follow along with today's headlines. Once again, our website is musicindustrycity.com. We want to thank you once again for tuning into Music News at Noon at 12 Eastern each Monday through Thursday weekdays right here from the Music Industry City Broadcast Network. Now let's get back into our headlines for today. We see music industry leaders unveil partner organizations in a bid to step up diversity and inclusion work. With more on this headline and others, we go to our UK correspondent, Angela Randall. Angela?
Thank you, Eli. Leaders in the music industry have joined forces with a number of organizations to strengthen the sector's efforts on equality, diversity, and inclusion. Following the demand from UK Music's Diversity Task Force, the collective voice of the music industry and its members are spearheading the move. The initiative is a key component of the ambitious 10-point plan, which was released last October as part of the work of UK Music and the Diversity Task Force to make the music industry more diverse and inclusive. As part of the 10-point plan, UK Music and its members agree to identify and work closely with socially engaged organizations whose work relates to gender and race, and with whom they can invest in on a long-term basis. Every member has now identified organizations with which it plans to work closely as part of their commitment to meeting the targets set out in the 10-point plan. UK Music is collaborating with Parents and Carers in the Performing Arts, known as PIPA, an organization dedicated to promoting best practices in employment and assistance for parents and caregivers in the performing arts sector. The 10-point plan was created by UK Music's Diversity Task Force and has the full support of UK Music's 10 board member bodies: AIM, BPI, FAC, the Ivors Academy, MMF, MPA, MPG, NU, PPL, and PRS for Music. For more details and a full list of participating organizations, see the article, which of course you can find with the others in our show notes. Yeah, this is, I think we've covered before some of UK Music's plans for discovering diversity and ways to improve meeting the needs of all of its members. And this one is, it looks as though it's collaborating with parents and carers, which as a parent in the performing arts industry is definitely a deficit in the industry. And we would definitely love to see anything that they can do to support the community and that sector of the community. We'll, of course, keep you up to date with this more in the future. And as the 10-point plan is rolled out, I'm sure there will be further items to enlighten you with in future. Let's go on from Record of the Day today, a second piece. Post-Brexit EU touring isn't working. Join campaign to get touring back on the road and creatives back to work. Following the government's failure to agree EU-wide work permits for touring creatives and their crews, people are being invited to join a pan-European movement to get touring creatives back on the road post-Brexit. People may support the Carry On touring campaign for as little as £2 and show their support for musicians, artists, models, authors, and their crews, many of whom will be unavailable to travel Europe during under the new visa requirements. Apologies. The Carry On Traveling campaign began in February 2021 with a petition by freelance video technician Tim Brennan, who is advocating for a pan-European EU visa and work permit waiver for touring creatives in order to keep tours going around Europe after Brexit. The initiative brings together voices from the touring, cultural, and creative industry sectors to gain cross-party support in Parliament to end the requirement for people touring Europe to get separate work visas for each nation they visit. David Knopfler, a founding member of Dire Straits, is a supporter of Carry On touring, as is presenter Andy Kershaw, music author Sheila Condra, composer Fish, and tour manager Chris Markland, who has worked with Kaiser Chiefs, Rudimental, and Meatloaf. Tim Brennan, who founded the campaign, stated, quote, "The government's failure to negotiate an EU-wide permit for touring creatives is already having a devastating impact on the careers of artists and their crews at home and in Europe. Now is the time to stand up for creatives and get tours back on the road," end quote. We've obviously covered this extensively as it's been unfolding here in Music News at Noon. And it's coming to a head, it appears now, that they're going to have to do something as tours start to be booked and start to be to leave and start to be carried out, as they'd say. And so, seeing that there's a representative from just about every sector of the creative fields that would be touring, everything from book tours to big tours to indie tours. It's just not feasible. It's just not going to work. And if there isn't some kind of deal that's struck, I mean, I fear that both sides, whether it's mainland Europe or the UK, will be suffering a great deal as a result of all of these restrictions. And it feels like we're just left behind. Do you guys have any thoughts on it?
Well, I mean, the whole thing with touring, that issue about the visas, and then you also have with the drivers and merch and all of that. I mean, it sounds too much. I mean, why? It's price prohibitive, cost prohibitive. It's also the fact that you have to send drivers back to the UK, or you have to rent certain things from different territories and can only carry so much merch. I mean, everything about this is just sounds terrible. I think.
Yeah, I mean, it appears as though it's a loose end that they hadn't considered, and because the sector is relatively small, there's not enough noise being made. But I can guarantee you that once shows either have to be postponed or canceled, or things have to start showing up in the prices that fans will be charged, there's going to be a lot more noise that will be made, and hopefully the pressure is put on both sides, because I really think everybody's let us down here. So of course we'll keep you posted, but at the moment it appears this is just another step in the right direction for getting them to do the right thing. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks for that. All right, let's stay over in Europe here. And this is the Dutch government delivers death knell for summer festivals. This is from IQ Mag. Lowlands, Down the Rabbit Hole, and Mysteryland, among other Dutch festivals, would be able to take place this summer after the government extended its ban on multi-day gatherings until September. So they cannot do it. They were planning on it, but it's not happening. The prohibition on non-seated public events and multi-day festivals with more than 1,000 participants went into effect on July 10th and was set to last until August 14th, when the government decide if festivals held beyond that day may take place. However, due to uncertainty surrounding the Delta variant of COVID, the cabinet has sealed the destiny of the summer season earlier than expected, shutting out multi-day festivals until at least September 1st. Following the announcement, the Mojo prompted event a camping flight to Lowlands Paradise, aka Lowlands, which was scheduled to take place between August 20 and 22nd, has been canceled for the second year in a row. Mojo stated, quote, "This is a very bitter pill because the developments surrounding Corona have been clearly gone in the right direction in recent months. While this is a major setback, we understand and respect the government's decisions." The organizer congratulated the government for establishing a €385 million insurance fund, which they claim will ensure the sector's and Lowlands' sustainability. Hey, UK, go, hey, Angela, UK, you listening? The government established a €385 million euro insurance fund. All right, with that being said, we're going to stick with IQ and we're going to go over to Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland music venues to reopen with restrictions. Under the most recent relaxations of Stormont's COVID-19 restrictions, music venues and theaters in Northern Ireland are authorized to reopen as of 6 p.m. tonight, and that's in the local time there. For rehearsals and performances, live music will be authorized with no restrictions on background or ambient noise levels. Audience members must, however, purchase tickets in advance, have assigned seating, and follow a 1-meter social distance guideline. The venues were supposed to reopen on July 26, but ministers want extra time to think about the health ramifications. Outdoor events were allowed to reopen on July 5th with no capacity limitations, but Sir Van Morrison, a Belfast singer-songwriter who successfully sued the Northern Irish government over its blanket ban on live music and licensed venue, called the announcement a kick in the teeth. Morrison canceled a series of events at Belfast Ulster Hall last week and now claims the canceled shows scheduled for this week could have gone forward. If you want to check out all the events, everything that is opening back up, you can check out that article online. Let's talk about some tech. And this is from techaball.com. AudioMac activates its monetization program for African independent artists. AudioMac, the music streaming platform, expanded its monetization scheme this month to reach more artists around the world, particularly in emerging nations. Until now, the AudioMac monetization program was only available in the United States, the United Kingdom, and Canada. It is now accepting eligible authenticated creators from Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, Mexico, India, Trinidad and Tobago, Haiti, and Europe. AudioMac sees an opportunity for growth in Nigeria and opened an office there last year. Expanding the AMP into Africa's largest market is one step forward towards capitalizing on that anticipated growth. Artists can use the AMP to monetize their songs and receive payment straight from the AudioMac back end. This implies that artists in Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, and other newly included regions can now obtain their streaming earnings directly rather than through intermediaries like record companies and publishers. Stick around. We're going to have a thought piece later, and it talks about this. So this is really interesting. This is going to tie in with the thought piece at the end. Just have a couple more pieces before we get there, and we're going to move on to Music Week. And YouTube announces its 2021 Foundry lineup. So you can check out all the full lineup on the website there. This year's Foundry received the most applications ever, and the 2021 Foundry class includes 27 artists from 14 nations, making it the largest to date. Its primary goal is to promote indie music. Artists will receive specific partner assistance from YouTube as part of the program, as well as seed funds invested in the development of their material. The combination of funding and team support enables artists to produce and launch music with greater impact and worldwide reach. Since its inception as a workplace series in 2015, Foundry has sponsored over 150 emerging artists from 15 different countries, including Arlo Parks, Dua Lipa, and many others. They say, quote, Foundry celebrates artists, their courage, and reduces barriers to entry. This group of artists are driven their careers forward as independents, building communities that allow the freedom to grow on their own terms. We are so proud to spotlight and play a part in developing indie talent, and will continue supporting these artists every step of the way. And let's talk about Gibson. I don't know if, unless you're a guitarist, you really don't talk about Gibson, but Gibson launches a record label. Why not? The latest, and signs Slash as their first artist. The label based in Nashville and will run in collaboration with BMG to work with Gibson artists to develop, record, and promote their music to audiences all across the globe, according to a new statement. Slash from Guns N' Roses is their first signing. The press statement does not specify a release date for Slash's new album featuring Miles Kennedy and the Conspirators, but Slash has previously expressed optimism that it will be released this year. Says Cesar Gurkin, brand president of Gibson Brands, of the announcement. Launching a record label that is in service to our artists is the natural evolution of our 127 years of history. Gibson Records will work with Gibson artists to capture, record, and promote their music under an artist-friendly partnership. Gibson Records will keep all of us at Gibson focused on our artist-first culture that is engaged and connected to music. We are excited to launch Gibson Records to announce that Slash is our first signed artist, and we have entered into a label partnership with BMG. So that's going to be interesting to see how that rolls out and develops. And with that being said,
big green dot hits the spot.
The big green dot, it does hit the spot. It is time for our daily Spotify spot, where we take a look at the latest updates from our streaming service. But before we do that, we want to check in with your weather. Sunny skies in the forecast for many of our listeners. It may be a nice day for a white wedding. And with that, over to you, Peter. What do you have for us today for the Spotify spot?
all right, we have Spotify adds a new playlist. So Spotify adds What's New, personalized new music with the podcast feel. Spotify has introduced What's New, a feed that aggregates new releases from artists and podcasts that a user follows on Spotify. With 50,000 plus hours of content posted to Spotify every day, keeping track of what matters to you can be difficult, and feeds are a tried and true approach on Facebook and most social networks. The What's New feed on Spotify now joins Discover Weekly and other new music and podcast discovery tools. On mobile, users may access their What's New feed by hitting the new bell symbol, which is situated at the top of the home tab. If new songs or episodes have been released after the user's last visit, a blue dot indicator on the bell symbol will notify them. What's New is also has filters that let users search for new music, podcasts, and program episodes. The new feed will be available to all iOS and Android users worldwide in the next coming weeks. And that is it for our Spotify spot. So that's going to be it for the main reads. I'd like to go over to this thought piece. If anybody has some comments before we head over to the thought piece, feel free to request to join the stage if you want to talk about anything, or if you need some comments if you're tuning in on our video stream. All right. So I don't know if people are subscribed. I think you might be, Angela. I'm not sure, but musicxtechxfuture.com, Bas Grasmeyer. I know I'm not pronouncing that right. Futurist has some great articles that he posts about with the future of music, mostly on the technology side. And this one is called A Simple Guide to Disrupting the Music Industry. And this is going to go tie back to my AudioMac article. And what they're saying is the new technology, what is the trigger here? It's a new technology or shift in the digital landscape. And aspiring founders are searching for a good use case to leverage that development, turn something into their passion about music. With a vague understanding of the music business, they proudly announce their plan that will totally disrupt the industry. Sounds like a tech startup? We don't really know anything about the music industry, but we have this whole great idea of how to disrupt something we don't know how it operates. And then we're going to do things, do first, ask for forgiveness later. All right, so what's really interesting about this, and the article has some charts, basic layouts and stuff that is really interesting to take a look at. But they're talking about people who have spent a decade in music have likely seen a dozen companies promising to disrupt come and go. Disruption doesn't sell. Solving problems does. That is such a key point. That's why I'm like this right here. I'm with you on this one. The most common misunderstanding seems to be stem from a fallacy around intermediaries, and that disintermediation always improves things. The oversimplified view is that everything besides the artist and fan is extra, and both would profit if it can be successfully disrupted. Now, we talk about this with the NFTs and blockchain, and I refer to the two economies. There's the traditional industry, which doesn't mean it's old and stale. It's just more of a label deal structure, label distribution, such and such. Whereas, I mean, if you still want to get music out as an independent, you just go through distribution. But there are other white list label platforms. There's other white label distribution services coming. They're talking about, taking out the middleman. And that's what this one here shows, is they're saying the artist to the fan. And what there is the barrier from the artist to the fan is you have the management, the label, the distributor, and then the streaming service. And that's how you get to the fan. This is a very simple, basic, because there are other ways of getting to the fan, but this is that traditional approach. So what they're saying is with the disruption is you take those and they all just go around to each other. So the artist can go to the streaming service. The artist can go directly to the distributor. The artist can go directly to the fan. But the reality, and he goes on to say, the reality is that things don't function as an artist management label distribution DSP fan chain. Music doesn't always travel through it like that. Value doesn't always travel through the chain. Instead, there's a whole network of connections where various types of values are exchanged, connected, and created. In most cases, it's not linear, it's a network. And this is where I say when artists are talking about, hey, I'm not making money on Spotify. Spotify doesn't pay enough. If you're focused on Spotify as your sole revenue source, then go and get a full-time job. Okay, just go and do it, because you need to focus on the other areas of the revenue. And these are micro payments, and you'll be getting micro income revenue streams. So this is where that disruption comes in for that economy. But, it's like the misunderstanding occurs time and time again. We're going back to the article. It leads the founders to present themselves in adversarial ways to parts of the industry that actually should be their customer. If you can do X better than how a label is currently doing that, then that label might be happy to pay you for it. Artists and their management have a ton of things to do. So in many cases, they're happy to let labels or label services companies take care of some of it. And he talks about, there are definitely some inefficiencies and practices of exploitation in music industry that need to be disrupted. They may occur anywhere in the ecosystem, which includes other parties like everything related to live, merch, PROs, or in connection between the players. They typically don't apply to an entire domain, all labels, or all booking agencies. But even when they do, like in the case of inefficiencies or friction, there may be other aspects of those businesses that would not benefit from complete disruption. So it's looking at, this is a great way to look at your career. I like especially what he says here is, and then going back to the article, what I'm saying is do your research. Create a map of the industry's domain you're interested in, and also map out everything adjacent to it, because there will be unforeseen connections. Understand how companies collaborate, what goals they're trying to achieve, how they add value, and where frictions may occur. Speak to people who understand whether your research is based on current day practices, because it definitely happens that people launch companies with assumptions based on the early 2000s practices. So he talks about on like this business sense, this business standpoint, but really what I'm taking out of here is, as a musician, as an artist, it's to actually create your own map. He says, create a map of the industry's domain you're interested in, and also map out everything adjacent to it. So we talk about, the confusion, burnout, where there's so many things. How do I get on? And, what do I have to do on Instagram? Well, Instagram, they're saying Instagram's not a photo app anymore. Instagram's a video app, according to somebody at Instagram 2 weeks ago at some conference. Well, that doesn't mean stop putting up images. And to keep on top of, like, do I have to do a reel? Do I have to do a post? Do I have to be on TikTok? It's what domain do you want to be in? Clear out that map. Look at that map. Create a map for your career and say, where's the revenue? Okay, Spotify, Apple. Well, okay, that's a distributor. I have to go through a distribution platform to get that. Well, do I need to go to a label to get to Spotify and Apple? No, you can go through distribution. Do I need to go through somebody for merch? Well, you can sell merch on Instagram, but do you want to learn about selling merch on Instagram, or do you want to have a different platform? So if you map out, where do I make money? Where do I have to put in extra work? Where do I need a team for? So you say, here's me. I'm going to disrupt my own career by saying, what can I do? What can I outsource? Can I do five? Can I get somebody to do my graphics? Can I get somebody to edit my videos? Can I make shorts? Can I do that? Do I have the money for that? Can I make more revenue? If you map it out and saying, where is the least amount of friction? And look at everything that's out there for you, those opportunities, say, this is where I want to focus in, but pay attention to what he says, everything adjacent to it. Pay attention, because we just talked about, we don't know how to exactly pronounce it, but Lomotif. And that is a TikTok competitor, and Universal just signed an agreement with them. Okay, well, great. Now I have to be on Lomotif as well as TikTok, and I also have to be doing Reels. I don't know how to do that. Well, that doesn't mean jump over there. That means pay attention to it. So look at what's adjacent. If you're on TikTok and you want to own that domain as a musician and you're using TikTok for that, yes, but pay attention to what else is going on and just take a little time to say, hey, I want to see what's going on. Ask around. Do your research. Ask around. You don't have to dig in. You can use Google. Google's the great Ask Jeeves. You can look at YouTube. You can go how to, then type in anything on YouTube. But if you look at it and create your own map and disrupt your own career by saying, this is what I want to master, this domain, and then everything else, I'm just going to keep over there. It's like, yeah, I'll trickle some things in, but I'm going to focus in one area, and I'm going to look at where can I get all the money in different areas. So that's why I really like, about the stuff here. It makes you think. It opens up a thought piece. And with that, if anybody has some comments or has some thoughts on that.
This is excellent, Peter. My friend George, who is a musician and a producer, and he owns a recording studio on a bus that he travels all over the UK and Europe with. He says all the time that he likes to keep 7 buckets of revenue all going at the same time. And whatever those buckets are, for you as an individual, it's for him, it's kind of a number that he just keeps in his mind. And it might be the sync bucket, the producer bucket, the music bucket where he's making his own, the writing bucket, the performing bucket, whatever it is, doing gigs, selling merch, whatever it is, however you can create those revenue streams. And I know a handful of musicians that also do work for hire. They do voiceovers, they do voice acting, because in a lot of cases it requires singing, or it requires a voice that's trained for long hours. So you just got to kind of think outside the box. And I think what the article is saying is, if you just rely on your creativity and the very main source of outlet, whether it's YouTube or Spotify, as the article said, then you're probably going to get discouraged really fast. But if you're able to just sort of come up with a schedule that fits you, that fits the output that you're able to produce, you could make a pretty nice living just doing, your best to fill all of those buckets. And as soon as one starts to look kind of empty, you just, set up some meetings, make some moves, and seek to fill that bucket again. And they'll start to fill on their own after a while, which is how you're getting that momentum going. It's an excellent piece. Thank you for sharing it.
Yeah, the one area, it's like, when you talk about those buckets, you can't focus on all those buckets at the same time. You can't put, all the eggs into all the baskets, or the water into all the buckets at the same time. You just can't. So focus then, say if I have 7 buckets, what do I want to focus on for the next month? Many want, the instant gratification. We all do. If we could get that, that's, everybody would get it, because if it was easy, we'd all be able to get it. But the thing is, if you say, all right, I have 7 buckets, and this goes back to that Warren Buffett, where it's like, write down 50 things that you want to do in the next year, and then circle 1 or circle 3 or something like that, and say, that's it. Everything else, take off the table. Take all that off the table. Here you go. You can't accomplish all that. It's impossible to do all of that. So focus. Now you narrowed it down. Here's my 100 things. I narrowed it down into 7 buckets. Now go in and say, what's the first bucket I want to focus on? I need to attract a bigger audience. Okay, is that more important than trying to make money on merchandise or touring? So prioritize, put in the buckets, and where can you look at disruption? Where can you say, I don't need a middle person to do something for me and I can have a higher percentage? Well, guess what? You know, something about these disruptor platforms is they take a lot of cut from you as well. So if you want to have merch and you want to be able to do drop ship and you want to be doing one-offs, guess what? You are not making a margin. You can make $1 on a t-shirt sale. But the opportunity to say I'm selling merch without having to invest hundreds or thousands of dollars into pre-buying merch and then shipping it. So yeah, you can make a higher margin on that. Great. But if you want to just be able to offer merch, there's Redbubble or whatever those other companies are. Like for instance, here, look at on the live stream, our Music Industry City coffee mug. We have a Music Industry City coffee mug. It's actually a really cool coffee mug. And you can buy this Music Industry City coffee mug. And I think it's $16. And we make 75 cents. And that's not a margin that we're looking to make money, but we want to be able to offer something. So now we say, okay, well, I want to be able to offer something that is a higher priority than making money on it. But when you do something such as t-shirts, hats, and you do something like that, you're not so worried about making the money, but you want to see what the audience might be going for. Well, they don't like the hats, but they like the coffee mug. Great. Then when you have the money, go pre-order. Here's 100. I ordered 100 coffee mugs, and now I can make $13 profit on each sale of a coffee mug as opposed to $1. But you're also getting to test out the market. So like when you have the disruption companies, yeah, that's great. But they also usually take a higher cut. Eli, you got a little smile on your face there.
You're taking the thoughts right out of my head. You know, there's a cut in it for everybody, but at the end of the day, if you don't have anything to sell, you don't have anything to sell. I want to give anybody who is on the chat or in the room an opportunity to join us with a comment before we wrap. We are looking at the final few moments here, and thank you, Peter, for this amazing piece. Are there any final thoughts for us from anyone in the chat or in the room? Angela, was there anything that kind of stuck out for you today in our reads?
Oh, I thought you'd never ask, Eli. I mean, the Behind the Music coming back, you guys know I'm a 90s kid. So the mere fact that I'm going to be able to plug in my headphones and listen to it on my commute and relive the glory days of Behind the Music really makes me happy. I wish they'd bring back Alternative Nation, 120 minutes, and the old time at Headbangers Ball episodes too. A woman can dream, that is.
They should bring back 120 minutes and just have Juliana Hatfield videos on it.
I can get down with that.
It's Juliana Hatfield Day, everybody. I love it. Okay, as we are wrapping up today, I do want to thank you so much for joining us right here. We are the Music News at Noon. We're coming to you from New York City from the Music Industry City Broadcast Network. You can all visit our website if you'd like to stay up to date and current on the happenings all around the globe in the music industry, join our community, or access other amazing resources at musicindustrycity.com. We hope you'll join us here again each and every weekday, 12 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Thursday, for the Music News at Noon. My name is Eli Wendell, and on behalf of myself and our UK correspondent, Angela Randall, thank you so much for being part of today's broadcast. And now I want to go over to Peter. Peter, any final thoughts for us today on today's reads?
Final thoughts? Oh, yeah, that I felt good. I really like Boz. His articles really get my mind, like, it opened up. I mean, you might not always agree with him, but this one really just stuck out. And it's definitely, you'll go check out it's musicxtechxfuture.com, and you can subscribe. And he really covers a lot of great futuristic ideas, but without being too futuristic. So with that being said, thanks again for everybody for joining us. We appreciate you joining us every day. I know it's summer. A lot of people are out. They're like, forget this. I'm outside. I'm taking a break. But again, also everybody on our video live stream, make sure to go. If you're not already, please, I wish I could tell you all the awesome things, but go to musicindustrycity.com. and just register for free. There's going to be profiles there. There's also a little forum. You'll see a feed at the bottom of the website when you're logged in. You can post some things. You can share some news. You can share some updates. You can say hi. The community, this whole thing's really building out. We have lots of articles. I mean, for instance, today, let me just go over there. What did he put out today? We talked about what sync is. We talked about 6 tips for getting an internship in the music business. We talked about we have our July playlist updates, Marina's pick of the week, Martina's pick of the week, why having a growth mindset. There's a lot of content for different areas. So it's not just straight up music. It's career talk. It's life talk. And we want to hear from you. So you can post things in the quick thoughts. It's the feed at the bottom. And we want to hear from you, what you're looking for, what you're interested in. And we're going to start having more guests, special guests from the industry and artists, and also the Daily Brief podcast. There is so much going on, and we send out an email every Sunday or Monday and Wednesday giving you updates, and we already have our August networking event ready to go, so you can RSVP for that for our city residents only. I mean, check it out. Just check it out, and if you like it, register. If you don't like it, don't register, or register anyway. So anyway, thanks again, Angela, Eli. It's always great. Thank you for everybody, and we are out of here.
Have
Cheerio.
a great day.